The meeting is now called to order. Roll call, Secretary Shapiro.
All board members are present.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on our agenda is our presentations. Tonight we will recognize the Carmel High School girls and the Carmel High School boys swimming and diving state champions. Mr. Inskeep.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us once again to honor a couple of our groups, our teams here at Carmel High School for just some more outstanding achievements. So before I start talking about them, I'm going to have the girls that are here present this evening and their head coach, Chris Plum, come forward. Be right over here by Dr. Beresford. So while they're moving and coming up this way, just a few quick words about our swimming community. It is really, really special, as you know, and obviously the last year or so has really given a lot more publicity to the Swim City USA moniker, but being a swim parent is a little different than your normal youth parent for sports. So it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of early mornings, a lot of carpooling, a lot of your car smelling like chlorine for a good 12 years. But if you like those things, it's a really good sport to do. And these girls and these families are so committed to the team and the program. And it's so much fun to spend, for me, pretty much the most of the month of February around all of them and taking in that spirit that they give that I think is just so reminiscent of what we want to support and celebrate here at Carmel Clay Schools. The girls swimming and diving team won the state championship on February 15th. The title extended their national record for consecutive state championships all time in any sport to 39 straight. Carmel took the individual title in 3 events and all 3 relays. The team ran up 448 points, which is the 4th most all time. The margin of victory of 235 points over the second place team was one of the largest of all time. And to show the domination of this season, the team advanced all 27 swims to the state finals and had 21 in the championship finals on Saturday, which is a truly remarkable number. Alex Shackle became the first 4-time state champion in the 100 butterfly, and Lindsey Bowen won the 200 freestyle for the 3rd consecutive year. Freshman Ellie Clark showed us a glimpse of what the future will look like, winning the 100 backstroke. The 200 medley relay of Ellie Clark, Molly Sweeney, Alex Shackle, and Faith Gorey started the meet with the state title. Then Gorey, Alexandria Clark, Sweeney, and Shackle dominated the 200 freestyle, and the 400 freestyle relay team of Faith Gorey, Ellie Clark, Lindsey Bowen, and Alex Shackle ended the meet with a state title. And just a few words before they come up and introduce themselves and Coach Plum and tell us what their future plans are. This team in particular overcame a lot of adversity. We say that sometimes and we're like, oh yeah, there was adversity they overcame. No, really, it was a lot of adversity. Like the entire team was sick, literally very sick, going the sectional leading up to the state. And they performed unbelievable, coming off a really rough week of being in bed and not feeling well. So it just was another great moment for this program. And I must say that, when we celebrate the 39 straight state championships, this is the one time that this group of young ladies will be together with this coaching staff doing all these things for one time. And I think it's very important that we continue to celebrate those one-time achievements, even though it is an unbelievable record that we hope will go on for many years. So, head coach Chris Plum.
All right, you put me on the spot, but I am incredibly grateful for this team and the achievements they've had. And at the same time, I want to thank the school district for building an amazing facility, which I know we will keep going this streak for a long time because of that. So it's a great staff, great team. The athletic support here is just unbelievable. I don't know how many athletic directors know as much about swimming as Mr. Inskeep does here. but he's learned over time, and I appreciate everything that goes on here. So thank you.
We'll have each of our seniors that are here today come up and introduce themselves and tell what their future plans are after this year. And if you know what your major is, at least to start, you can say that, and then we'll have you come around for handshakes here in a picture.
Hi, my name is Savannah Irizarry. I'm going to Purdue University for kinesiology, and I plan on being an orthopedic doctor.
Hello, my name's Priscilla Smith. I'm going to DePaul University where I'm going to continue swimming. I'm going to major in biology and minor in Spanish, and I'm going to be on the pre-med track because I want to be a pediatric surgeon.
Hi, my name's Lily. I'm going to be going to Wagner College to continue swimming, major in biology, and then go to medical school.
Hi, I'm Lexi Ward, and I'm committed to North Carolina at Chapel Hill to continue swimming and to major in sports and exercise science or something in education. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kayla Barr. I'm going to swim and study at the University of Minnesota. I'm going to major in biology and pre-med and go into medical school.
Hi, I'm Addie Zarnecki. I'm going to Ball State University where I'm going to continue swimming and study nursing. And I plan to work at Riley in pediatric cardiology as a nurse practitioner.
This time, we'd like to have members of the boys swimming and diving program that are with us this evening come forward. While they are coming up, I'll tell a little bit about the boys' season, which was equally as dominant. The boys swimming and diving team won the state championship on March 1st. The title is the 11th straight title for the Greyhounds, and it extended the program's status as the third longest streak in state history in any sport all time. It was also the 25th overall time the Greyhounds have won the state championship as well. The 412 team points scored by the team is the second most in state meet history. The 196-point margin of victory was the fourth largest in state meet history and a true testament to the depth throughout the lineup as well. The team won 3 individual events and all 3 relays in the meet. The 200 medley relay team of Anderson Kopp, Ethan Zhang, Andrew Shackle, and Michael Gorey started the state finals with the title. Sophomore Trent Allen won 2 individual titles, and senior Andrew Shackle won the 100 butterfly. Greyhounds dominated the 200 freestyle relay with Andrew Shackle, Carter Hadley, Michael Gorey, and Ethan Zhang. And then Carmel ended the meet with the title in the 400 freestyle relay with a team comprised of Shackle, Allen, Hadley, and Kopp. And again, this is an amazing group. They get it done in the pool and out of the pool. And both of these programs, we're just so proud of how they represent our community and the way they go about their business every day. It's very, very impressive. So right now, the girls made it easy. So you're going to say your name, what your future plans are, and if you know your major already.
My name is Luke Pugh. I am continuing swimming at Miami, Ohio, and I'm going to major in mechanical engineering.
Hello, my name is Anderson Kopp. I'm going to continue swimming at Duke University, and I plan to major in economics.
Hi, my name is Zachary Larson, and I'm going to Purdue University next year to study finance.
Hi, I'm Tyson Haynes, and I plan on majoring in finance and accounting at either University of Kentucky or Indiana University.
Next, we will recognize the Carmel High School debate team state champions. Dr. Ferris.
Yes, thank you for having us. We have great swimmers. We also have great debaters at Carmel High School. And it is my pleasure to recognize the CHS debate team and Coach Park McMillan as state champions tonight. Park, if you'd like to go ahead and come on up. The Carmel High School speech and debate team claimed first place at the 2025 Indiana School Speech and Debate Association State Debate Tournament held at Avon High School back in January. This victory marks Carmel High School's third state debate championship in 4 years. We're starting a streak, we like this. Cementing the team's legacy as a powerhouse in Indiana debate. The thing we love about speech and debate, it helps our students develop essential skills in communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. Through public speaking, students learn to analyze complex ideas, express their thoughts clearly, and engage with opposing viewpoints respectfully and thoughtfully. At this time, I would like to invite Coach McMillan up as he's going to introduce our team members and share a little bit more about our state champion debate team. Park?
Well, I want to begin by thanking the members of the school board and Dr. Beresford for recognizing the team tonight. Thank you, Dr. Ferris, for your ongoing support throughout the year. I also want to recognize Mrs. Brittany Wiseman as well at the high school for her work with all the school-sponsored clubs at CHS, and our head speech and assistant debate coach, Ms. Emily Bell, for the time and energy that she dedicates to our team and helping it succeed. And a huge thank you to our parents and caregivers as well. Your encouragement for your students, your help with hosting the district debate tournament that we hosted at CHS this year, your willingness to serve as judges at tournaments throughout the year, all of these are vital to our team's success. Thank you, yes. And I also want to recognize our incredible student leadership as well. I'll start with Club President Maxwell Godey, our executive board members Jessica Ding, Caitlin Folman, Kelly Folk, Ferial Hayter, Evelina Rubchinsky, and all of our event heads as well. And finally, a special thank you to my wife, Morgan, without whose love and support I could not devote the time and energy required to coach this team, so thank you. Thank you. As Dr. Ferris said, speech and debate changes lives, from building confidence, improving communication, increasing critical thinking skills, better preparing students for college, careers, and life in general. Speech and debate activities provide vital life skills to a young person's success in the future. A LinkedIn survey of over 660 million professionals revealed the most in-demand soft skills that are needed in this decade. You can probably guess what some of them were, but here's some that they included: creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. Speech and debate, as you can imagine, help to build all of these skills and many, many more. Our students themselves recognize the profound impact of this activity. When I asked our speech and debate, or how speech and debate has influenced them, a varsity member and part of our Student Leadership Council, Mahitha Kanjedi, shared this. She said, "Participating in this club has empowered me to use my voice as an agent for good and to advocate for those who cannot advocate for themselves. It has given me a deep sense of confidence and has taught me the power of effective communication and connection. Through competing, I've learned how to process both success and failure, and mentoring younger debaters has reinforced my love for teaching and given me the opportunity to give back to the team as a whole." This team is truly special. Our mission statement says Carmel Speech and Debate exists to motivate and train students to find and use their voice, engage with the world around them, and become effective and inspiring leaders. And I've seen this mission come to life in our team's leadership and their commitment to each other. Our exec board, our event heads, and varsity members work tirelessly to mentor and build up those around them, helping them see the potential that they have, learn and practice the skills that they need, and empower them with the confidence that they've earned. And you see this reflected in their experiences. When asked about their favorite part of speech and debate this season, our leaders consistently highlighted their investment in others. Lincoln Douglas event head Ferial Hayter said her favorite thing this year was watching novices grow and being able to envision the future of Carmel LD. Varsity member Gideon Goldstein simply said, teaching novices. Policy event head Kelly Folk shared becoming close with all the new policy debaters in such a short amount of time. We're all family at this point, and I couldn't agree more when it comes to our team as a whole. Our entire team is composed of over 140 students, and we regularly take between 50 and 70 to compete at a total of 15 tournaments throughout the season, with 34 of our best and brightest selected to compete at the state debate tournament. Every member of this team has contributed to our success, and we're here tonight to recognize those achievements. So our members that are here today, if you could stand and you could come over here, and we'll present the certificates to our state champions. Students, as I call your name, you'll receive your certificate. And then for our seniors, if you want to come and share what your plans are for the future, you can do that here. And for those that aren't seniors yet, you can go ahead and stand over there to be prepared for the picture. So first, we'll go alphabetically here, is Aryan Acharya, Caitlin Folman, Kelly Folk, Gideon Goldstein, Maxwell Godey. Max, by the way, was also recognized by our state association at the state debate tournament for his contributions in the event of Congress debate. He received the Bill Hicks Award and scholarship along with that. I think I left off with Ferial Hayter, Mahitha Kanjedi, Evelina Rubchinsky, Ellie Wong, and Emily Wong. Let's give all of these students a warm round of applause. Well, our season continues, isn't quite over. We have nationals coming up in June, which we're looking forward to. And as we look ahead for next year, we have three main goals. One is expanding our connection with our CCS middle schools by supporting or existing programs or establishing programs at the schools that don't quite have one yet. Second would be increasing our community impact through service opportunities for our team members. This is something that our student leadership has really pushed, and we're excited to do more with next year. And finally, recruiting additional coaches and community members to grow our program and extend our reach. Thank you again for your continued support of Carmel Speech and Debate. If you're interested in learning more, we invite you to attend and even judge at one of our tournaments next year. I promise, if you join us, you won't just see the value of speech and debate. You'll be amazed by the incredible things that these young leaders do and who they are becoming. Thank you again.
Next, I would like to invite Carmel Police Chief Drake Sterling to the podium.
Well, thank you. My name is Drake Sterling. I've had the great honor to serve as the police chief here in Carmel for the past 13 months. And I wanted to introduce myself to the board for those that I haven't already met. I also want to introduce some of the team members that I have with me tonight. You're very familiar with some of our SRO leadership in the back, but also with me, I brought along Deputy Chief DJ Sheff, who many of you are familiar with. He spent over half of his 20-year career working in the schools, and then also Major Anna Flaming, who we assigned to the SROs here. She's the major over SROs, including community outreach and some other components as well. So she's been in that role now for a few months and is doing quite well. When I got here, I was very pleased to learn what a successful SRO program that we have here. I certainly have admired it from afar. I spent 12 years as a coach over to the west of here. I'm not going to name the corporation, but I coached track and field and cross country, including the last 5 years as the girls' head coach of the track team there in Zionsville. I have the very enviable position now of having the ability to work hand in hand with some of you all, as well as our SROs, in one of the best SRO programs in the entire country. In fact, just Friday night, we actually recognized just a handful of our SROs at our annual awards banquet for some of the work that they've done while they've been in the schools, and so that was a really neat opportunity to recognize them. And really, what I've found is that the SRO program here is decades ahead of its peers, and it's certainly due, not just in part, but in full, due to the collaboration of you all and the partnership that we've had with the school corporation. So we certainly appreciate you quite a bit. Of course, we all know that it's woven deep in the fabric of every strong community is a great school corporation, and we as the police department are just honored to be a part of that alongside you. And it's certainly a reason why most, if not all, move and stay in a city as great as ours is public safety and school corporation, typically number one and number two, not necessarily in that order. So again, just honored to be here and to serve, and really, really appreciate the great partnership with the school corporation. Thank you.
I know it's a school night, so if there's those of you that need to get home, we can take a brief break. Now we are going to move on to public comment. Typically, speakers who sign up for public comment are placed into groups, Group 1 and Group 2. In Group 1 are those who are CCS students, parents, employees, and Carmel residents, and all three requests to speak this evening are from that group. As a reminder, participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface their comments by an announcement of their name and group affiliation if applicable. Comments may not reference specific corporation employees, patrons, or students. Comments shall be directed to the board, and no person may address or question individual board members. The school board will not act on or respond to questions or comments made during public comment, but will take them under advisement. So we have determined already the order of speakers using our fancy bingo ball hopper. And so first up, we have Maytal Ashkenazi. And then on deck for second to speak, we have Karina Rosenthal. And again, for all speakers, you will have 3 minutes, and up on the board, we'll give you your time, as well as in front of you, you'll have lights that give you a warning and then when you're finished.
My name is Maytal Ashkenazi. I'm a proud Israeli American, a mother of 2 daughters in Carmel schools, a wife of a Carmel High School graduate, and a former IDF soldier. I have friends and family members currently serving in the Israel-Hamas war. This is deeply personal. Recently, the Israeli flag was stolen from the Carmel High School Media Center. After reporting the hate crime to the high school, it was promptly addressed and replaced within 48 hours. That swift action mattered. It signaled that Jewish students matter, and we thank the administration for doing the right thing quickly. However, one strong response is not enough. The reality is that anti-Semitism in our district is growing. Our students are enduring hate speech, Holocaust jokes, videos, and bullying. We're asking for the following: a zero-tolerance policy on all forms of hate, including anti-Semitism. Clear corrective measures, not just for students, but for administrators and staff who fail to act. District-wide education on anti-Semitism and Jewish identity for teachers, staff, and students. A partnership with the Jewish Community Relations Council. We would like to proactively work together to share resources and educational opportunities on anti-Semitism with faculty and students, discuss policies and procedures that can prevent future incidents, and ensure that Jewish students continue to experience a safe and welcoming environment in Carmel schools. We are here tonight as mothers, as Jews, as daughters of generations who have survived hate. We speak not just for ourselves, but for our children and for all those who came before us. We are here to say, never again is now. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Karina Rosenthal, and on deck after her is Eli Isaacs.
Good evening. My name is Karina Rosenthal. I'm a proud Jewish mother of 3 daughters. I'm also a Carmel High School graduate. I came to the United States as a religious refugee from Ukraine at the age of 5. My family fled because it was no longer safe to be Jewish. I never imagined that decades later I would again feel that same fear and vulnerability, this time not for myself, but for my children. Earlier this month, my family attended the International Festival at Smoky Row Elementary, where my 9-year-old and 7-year-old daughters are students. At what was supposed to be a celebration of culture and inclusion, we encountered a display filled with deeply anti-Semitic rhetoric, claiming that Jews plotted to crucify Isa, and that the children of Israel have always been a difficult nation. Did the Jews kill Jesus? Later that evening, my oldest daughter, wide-eyed and confused, asked me why anyone would hate Jews so much and why they would say such things at her school. It was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had as a parent. This is not about my family. It's about every child who deserves to feel safe, seen, and valued. Over the past few weeks, I've become a bigger advocate for Jewish voices. I have learned about so many more instances of Jewish hate that have brought me to my knees. We appreciate the steps taken so far, but this is only the beginning. Now is the time for bold, systemic action. Thank you.
Up next, we have Eli Isaacs.
Thank you, Madam President, and members of the school board. My name's Eli Isaacs. I'm the president of the local Jewish Community Relations Council. I'm also the parent of a Carmel Clay School student and 2 more who will be soon enough. I'm here tonight to call attention, like those before me, to the growing concern our community has with the rising anti-Semitism. It's an issue affecting Jewish communities and schools across the nation, and unfortunately, CCS is no exception. Reported anti-Semitic incidents across the country have hit all-time record highs each of the past 3 years in a row. Given that Carmel Clay Schools has the largest population of Jewish students in the state, we expect continued engagement with our community to address this serious matter, both in terms of remediation when incidents occur and in implementing proactive measures to prevent incidents in the first place. As you're aware, on March 7th, a display at Smoky Row Elementary included anti-Semitic content. We deeply appreciate, you said don't mention any members by name. So we deeply appreciate the district leaders' immediate response to the incident, engagement with our community, and the district-wide communications that were sent out. When we met with district leadership last week, we discussed potential outcomes from the Smoky Row incident. The most important of these, which we understand the district is already working on, is the implementation of new administrative policies to ensure that future events are free from hateful and discriminatory content and that they fulfill the inclusive objectives related to which they're designed. We also appreciate the work we know this board will continue to undertake to determine whether any new policies should be created and implemented in handling anti-Semitic incidents moving forward. Our community feels strongly that there are practical and reasonable steps that Carmel Clay Schools can and should take to proactively address anti-Semitism. These include working with our community to provide a professional development and educational opportunity to teachers, administrators, and students about the unique nature of anti-Semitism, because it is unique relative to other forms of hate. And articulating policies and procedures for addressing anti-Semitic incidents that make clear such hate will not be tolerated. We are confident that there will continue to be open lines of communication between our community, our organization, and district leadership. We want to assure this board that we are committed to a collaborative and outcome-oriented approach. At the same time, we will never hesitate to advocate zealously for the needs and concerns of Jewish students and families in the district. Thank you all for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions and also happy to be a resource to each of you moving forward.
Thank you.
Before we proceed, I think it might be good just for a clarification to our community that actually the policy liaisons met this afternoon. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so our policy liaisons, to remind everybody, are Jennifer Nelson-Williams and Christina Wheeler, and they met this afternoon with Dr. Dudley to discuss potential policy.
Thank you, Madam President. So the policy liaisons did meet prior to this meeting this evening and are outlining new policy guidelines that incorporate existing guidelines and trying to pull them all together so that situations like these will not occur in the future. And certainly CCS stands behind all communities and wants everyone to feel included and safe and free from a hateful and scary environment. So those new policies are coming together and will be brought for a first reading at our April 28th meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for meeting ahead of this time. Next on our agenda is our consent, and tonight consent items include a personnel report, claims, payroll, and minutes from our February 10th workshop session, February 24th executive session, and February 24th regular session school board meetings. Our consent items are the items that are a designated section for our meeting that are grouped together so that we can consider them and vote on them efficiently. So again, this evening it's a personnel report, claims, payroll, and minutes from several different meetings. Could I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the consent items of the agenda.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. So the motion today was to approve all of the items listed in the consent agenda. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we will take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Up next, we move on to action. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Thank you very much, President Coquet, Dr. Beresford, and members of the board. The approval of tonight's board consent agenda, including my first official recommendation to the board as your next superintendent. I am incredibly pleased to share that Dr. Holly Herrera will become Carmel Clay School's next Assistant Superintendent of Staff and Student Services, replacing my current role effective July 1st, 2025. Dr. Herrera, who has served as our Director of Human Resources for Carmel Clay Schools over the past 2 years, brings a wealth of experience in educational leadership, human resources management, and student-centered service. Dr. Herrera demonstrates exceptional organizational skills, is deeply committed to supporting staff and students, and actively fosters positive relationships throughout the school community. Dr. Herrera has demonstrated a servant leadership philosophy that aligns perfectly with the values of Carmel Clay Schools. She has been a visible, approachable, and dedicated leader, ensuring our staff feel supported and valued. Her leadership will be instrumental in strengthening our district's culture of excellence and continuous improvement. Dr. Herrera holds a PhD in Educational Administration from Indiana State University, a Master's of Arts in Educational Administration and Supervision from Ball State University, and has extensive experience in school leadership. Before joining Carmel Clay School, she served as a principal and an assistant principal, where she was instrumental in leading curriculum initiatives, fostering strong school community partnerships, and implementing staff development programs. Dr. Herrera is exceptionally visible, visionary, and has proven to be a highly effective leader in Carmel who will be a perfect fit for this position. I'm excited about the direction and also the strength of our leadership team moving forward. Dr. Herrera, she is not here tonight. She's on a pre-approved special trip, spending time with family. She offered to postpone her trip to be here. However, I could not let her do that, as moments with your children before they head off to college certainly go fast. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now we will move on to our action items. And our first action item this evening is the donation of bleachers. Mr. McMichael.
Thank you. The high school does have 2 sets of unneeded rollaway bleachers. We'd like to give those to Batesville Community School Corporation. They would be happy to have them, and they will be responsible for the removal of them, so it would be no expense to us.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion? And this will be regarding the donation of bleachers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the donation of the bleachers to Batesville.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Our next action item is the bid award for the Carmel Clay Schools 2025 pavement improvements. Mr. McMichael again.
Thank you. This is really primarily for seal coating, excuse me, for lots that we paved last year. And so part of our maintenance routine is a year later we seal coat them. There is some slight paving, some work on a playground at one of our East Side schools. So we'd recommend your award to Howard Companies in the amount of $310,500.
Thank you. With that information, may I have a motion to approve the bid award for the Carmel Clay Schools 2025 payment improvements?
I move to accept the 5.2 bid award to include the Carmel Clay Schools paving improvements.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. So the motion is to approve the bid award for the Carmel Clay Schools 2025 payment improvements. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we will take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Our next action item is another bid award, and this is for the Carmel High School 2025 classroom renovations. Mr. McMichael.
Thank you. This recommendation is to JBM Contractors in the amount of $627,000. It's primarily for rooms that reflect the need for renovation relative to our CTE programs, the nursing programs, and so forth. And then I believe there's one space that also in photography.
Thank you, Mr. McMichael. May I have a motion to approve the bid award for the Carmel High School 2025 classroom renovations?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move on action item 5.3 to approve the bid award for Carmel High School 2025 classroom renovations.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, and again, the motion that we are voting on will be to approve the bid award for the Carmel High School 2025 classroom renovations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have kind of potentially a grouping of several change orders. And so I would like to see if we can get a motion to approve the change orders as a group. So the group items would potentially be 5.4, change orders for the Carmel High School Greyhound Activity Center. 5.5, change orders for the Carmel High School Freshman Center interior renovations. 5.6, change orders for the Carmel High School Gymnasium LED replacement, as well as item 5.7, change orders for the Carmel High School natatorium addition and existing natatorium renovations. And lastly, item 5.8, change orders for the Carmel High School Polytech addition. So again, these are, I'm seeing if I can get a motion to group these together. It would be items 5.4 through 5.8.
Madam President, I'd like to make a movement to accept change orders 5.4 through 5.8 collectively.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on grouping those change orders together? All right, seeing none, we will take a vote. All in favor of voting on items 5.4 through 5.8 as a group signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Mr. McMichael, can you give us a little background
I
on
can.
the change orders?
Two of these change orders are, as you have the detail in your report, but two of them are what we call closeout deduct change orders for projects finished. So contractors had some contingency allowances remaining, and so those are deduct change orders. We had one that is primarily a chargeback. It shows $24,000, but our net cost is $5,700, so fairly insignificant. And then we had one that will be charged back to one of our professional services because there was an error made in the specifications. And then finally, there is one add change order relative to the activity center at the high school. I'm sorry, it's the Polytech project, not the activity center. And that one is primarily, it's $128,000. It's primarily for unforeseen conditions when they, the as-built drawings provided by the city for water lines were not where they said they were. And then there were two gas lines that were discovered during excavation. So it's necessary for us to do that work.
Thank you, Mr. McMichael. May I have a motion to approve action items 5.4 through 5.8 on our agenda?
Madam Chair, I move to approve items 5.4 through 5.8 for Carmel High School Greyhound Activity Center, Freshman Center interior renovations, gymnasium LED replacement, natatorium addition and existing natatorium renovations, and the Polytechnic addition.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. So again, our motion is to approve the action items 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, 5.7, and 5.8. Any discussion? Right, seeing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up on our agenda, we have a student data report with Dr. Dudley. Thank you. So this evening, I'm excited to bring a student data report on a program that we have at both our middle school and our high school, AVID. And some of you, I'm sure you've heard about AVID in the past. Just starting off with AVID, what does AVID stand for? AVID is an acronym for Advancement via Individual Determination. And so it's focused on our students to make sure that they are prepared for the future, whatever that future might bring for our students. And one of the reasons as we looked at AVID and bringing AVID to Carmel Clay Schools is that it aligns very nicely with our Carmel Clay Schools mission. As you can see, the Carmel Clay Schools mission on the left there, where Carmel Clay Schools will provide opportunities for all students to realize their potential in an ever-changing world. And the mission of AVID is to close the achievement gap by preparing all students for college readiness and success. And so it does really align for our students, and it aligns those arrows. And back in 2004, we adopted AVID for the high school. And then in 2016, we brought AVID on for our 7th and 8th grade students at the middle school. We also offer an AVID introductory elective course for our 6th grade students to see if this might be something they might be interested in for the year-long course in 7th grade or 8th grade as well. So in AVID, it's what we offer for our students is it's an elective course, and so at the 7th and 8th grade and through the high school, students are able to take this year-long elective, but it also is a school-wide program where looking at AVID strategies, teachers are provided with professional developments to incorporate those strategies throughout the classrooms and all of the content areas, because the practices are really best practices for our students in learning, and so we continue to provide those strategies and those implementations. And with AVID, in order to provide a school-wide implementation that really does focus on fostering career and culture for all students in the class, AVID introduces 4 domains, and those domains are in the area of instruction, systems, leadership, and culture. And so the instruction domain, it focuses on the quality and the rigor of the instruction to ensure that all students, including those AVID elective students, have access to challenging and engaging learning experiences, and it emphasizes strategies like Wicker, which we'll talk about in just a moment, and critical reading skills. In the systems part of the domain, this focuses on the organizational structure and the processes that support the AVID implementation, including curriculum and instruction, data collection and analysis, professional learning for all of our staff, and student and parent outreach. The leadership domain emphasizes the role of school leaders in driving and sustaining the AVID implementation and ensuring that AVID is a priority throughout the school. Because as we said, we have the elective piece, but it is bigger than just the students engaged in the elective part of the AVID program. And then the last domain, the culture domain, focuses on creating a school culture that values college and career readiness for all of our students and having those high expectations for all of our students, where students are feeling supported and empowered to achieve their goals in AVID. And so one of the strategies under the instructional piece is the Wicker. And if your students have ever been in an AVID course, you might have heard of Wicker. And Wicker is focused on writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. And so it's an instructional approach that places students at the center of their learning and that they empower them to take ownership and use these strategies throughout their school day and they're learning their content. So it involves intentional instructional decision-making by teachers to provide students with opportunities to demonstrate what they know and what they can do with the rigorous course content, which in turn builds the skills and the behaviors that support college and career readiness. Wicker stands for the writing, so that's obviously they use the writing to communicate, to reflect on their learning, to use it as inquiry, to really look at the visible organization of thought, communication, and using that writing with authentic audiences throughout the curriculum. the inquiry, so uncovering one's own understanding, but also the critical thinking and questioning that leads to more questioning, exploring in a variety of ways to solve problems, engaging in thinking and learning, and discussions to inspire that innovation piece. And then collaboration, that positive group interactions, and we know that our students will need to be able to collaborate, work as a team with shared responsibility and share the ideas of information and opinions with others. The O is the organization, where students learn to manage their time and their self. They practice study skills, planning and prioritizing their schoolwork and social tasks, and engaging in goal setting, planning, and reflection, and strategically and intentionally taking responsibility for one's own learning, which is such an important skill for not only our students in middle school and high school, but also when they go off to college or into careers, to be able to have those strong skills in place. And then, of course, the R is the reading, where students are making connections between texts. They're to self, to world. They're navigating, they're comprehending those rigorous texts. They're evaluating that information from a variety of formats and organizing and applying text-based learning throughout their time at the middle schools and the high school. So as we think about an AVID student, a typical student for a profile, and this is a typical student, it doesn't mean that they have to have all of these key identifiers, but you're looking at students that are motivated or maybe need some motivation too. You're looking at a student that has the potential for that advanced coursework, but they might need some support there. They may not have, they may not have the the feeling that they can do the coursework, but they might need kind of that push. You're looking for someone with that individual determination, a positive mindset, a willingness to work hard, but maybe they don't have all of the skills that they need yet. There are students that do want to go to a four-year university and that would be motivated to complete that four-year university prior to graduation. And these might be students that might have some special circumstances, a variety of different, that might be obstacles to this achievement. And so an AVID works on the areas for growth. They might need organizational habits with growing. They might need that time management piece, knowing how to study, what to study. They may need to develop their self-advocating skills or asking questions. They may need to develop their confidence in skills and communicating with others, or positive academic self-image, or that clear vision for the future. Maybe they're not sure where they want to go. AVID is a program that can help the students to grow in all of those areas as well, so that they can be successful in whatever they choose to do. As we, as our seniors here were sharing what they're planning on doing, a lot of those plans may change as they get into secondary work and decide, maybe I don't want to do that. And that's okay. Our students do have those opportunities to change their minds, but whatever they do desire to do, they'll have the skills to be able to be successful in that. So as I said, AVID is a program, and we have it both our middle school and our high school. And currently this year we have about 9% of our students in grades 7 through 12 that are enrolled in the AVID elective course for our students. And from those 9% of our students enrolled in the AVID elective course, 33% of the middle school AVID students are enrolled in honors language arts. Because again, we want students that might not feel that they are prepared, or might not feel they have the skills to do those advanced work, but they really do, and continuing to make sure students are taking those paths for the different advanced work. We have 36% of our middle school students in the AVID elective course that are enrolled in honors or advanced math. And at the high school, 70% of our high school AVID students are enrolled in at least one, and many of them are enrolled in more than one AP, IB, advanced college placement, honors, or dual credit course. So you can see as we continue to move through Carmel Clay schools, we are encouraging more of our students to take that advanced coursework. We know that really helps to set them up for the future and set them up to say, yes, I can do this. I can take this rigorous work and be very successful in it. And 100% of our senior AVID students are accepted to a college or a university. And these are just some of the colleges and universities that our students and our AVID students have been accepted to. So as we think about AVID, looking at that data, that's all important data. We also wanted to say, looking at some data over a 3-year period of time. So what we wanted to look at is the measurable impacts that AVID is having on our students. And so we wanted to identify the percentage of change of students in each quartile from 6th to 7th grade over a 3-year period of time. So we were looking from 21, 22, all the way to the 24, or 23, 24 school year. Our base year would be our 2021 base year. And so we were looking at our students that were enrolled in AVID in 7th grade, and this is a sampling of our students enrolled in AVID, and comparing them to a sampling of our students that were enrolled in non-AVID courses over that same time period. And so looking at the data for iLearn for English Language Arts, you can see that from the end of grade 6 to the end of grade 7, 6.6% of our students went from at benchmark to above benchmark for our non-AVID students. When we compare that to our AVID students from the end of 6th grade to 7th grade, 7.6% of our students went from at to above. So we're moving our students above. And then we are also seeing the same positive results in the students going from below to approaching. You can see we had 2.1 less students in the below quartile for our non-AVID, and we had 5.8% less students in the below for our AVID students. So you can see our AVID students are more likely to move from either at to above or from below to approaching those programs. So wherever the students are, we're moving them forward, and you can see for the students that are involved in AVID, that the data is showing that it is an effective program for some of our students. And as you can see in math, you see some similar results where AVID very much has 7.1% of our students moving from at to above as compared to their non-AVID counterparts, where they actually had a slight decrease moving from at to above. And then 3.3% of our students moved from below to approaching in math on English Language Arts. So as we're looking from the end of 6th grade to the end of 7th grade. And then looking at both our combined math and language arts, we had for our non-AVID students 2.5% move from at to above, and we had a significant amount more for our AVID at 6.9% move from at or above when you're looking at both of those. And also from below to approaching, we had 4.5% in less in below. So as you can see for our students in this sampling of data, where our students, the AVID program is one, it's a corollary where we can say, yes, AVID may be helping our students to improve in their achievement as well as in the some of the non-tested pieces like the organization and all of those pieces. So with that short report, what questions might you have?
Thank you, Dr. Dudley. I really appreciate that. I remember when AVID was first rolled out, and I think there were a lot of misunderstandings about the purpose of the program, and I think it's been so successful over the last several years, and word of mouth of both parents and students who have taken some of these classes has been very, very positive. My question is, AVID is still a voluntary program, right? It is an elective. It is not something we would force any student to take, but we could strongly recommend it. Has there been any discussion of how some of the AVID concepts could, given some of these outcomes, which I think are wonderful, could be integrated into general curriculum and instruction?
Yes, yes. So
part of the implementation of AVID is not only the elective piece of AVID, but also looking at the school-wide. And so we have ongoing professional development for our teachers. We have an AVID site team at all of our schools, our secondary schools, where they work to help teachers to understand the different strategies in AVID so that they can not only support the students in the AVID elective courses to use those same strategies in the content, but also incorporate them in their own content for all of our students, because these strategies are really best practices when you think about that organizational piece, when you think about how we're using that writing to reflect on our learning, all those pieces. And as well as using those AVID strategies in professional development for teachers in other areas as well. For example, I use a variety of different AVID strategies in my own professional development when I'm working with our principals, our department chairs, and our teachers. We've used different pieces such as Cornell Notes in that with the organization. We've used the quick writes with reflection pieces. All of that collaboration, those are all pieces that we model for our teachers, as well as help them to understand what the strategy is and how it might look in their own content area. And that's an ongoing piece.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It's very enlightening. One thing I like about it, it appears that it addresses more the kids in the middle, not the super high performers or the super low performers, but the ones that maybe sometimes are left behind or not, they're overlooked somewhat. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, so these are students that might not feel like they have the potential, but it helps to target those students that they absolutely do have the potential, and how can we give them the confidence to be successful and the skills necessary to be successful.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be a really important program to market well. Do we do a good, I mean, how do parents find out about it?
Yeah.
Is it something you provide with initial counseling with the parents? Or?
So when students are scheduling starting at the middle school and then in the high school as well, they look for students where many times they might be tapping students on the shoulder too to say this might be a really good course. So they help the parents understand what the program is at the middle school. And as I said, we also have a middle school one quarter elective in 6th grade where they can really learn more about it. And then we continue to share the information with parents at parent evenings and also with our students, where our counselors are meeting with our students and talking about what AVID might look like and what it could possibly do for our students. And as Mrs. Wheeler mentioned, it is an elective that students can choose to take, but sometimes students are very much encouraged to take it based on different things that they're presenting with their counselor. Or their teachers as well. So teachers go into classrooms and they share the AVID. We have students that come back. We have students that are in AVID that share with other students, but we also have students that's really powerful that come back from universities and share with the students why it is so successful and how it is helping them be so successful at their college or university. And that is very powerful for our students. I know my own daughter, as Mrs. Wheeler mentioned, when AVID first came out, it did have a negative connotation. And, I wanted her to take AVID, and she was adamant that she was not going to. But then several years later, after she was through college, she goes, "Why didn't you make me take AVID?" And I was like, but it is very much, it is so powerful for our students. So we continue with that ongoing piece. And the students actually, to get into the program, they actually interview for the AVID program. And so we have a variety of teachers that sit on those interview panels because we are looking for the student, that just right fit for our students.
Yeah, just one last comment. I appreciate the chart on measuring the student outcomes of the program. It's so easy to find programs. I'm just talking generically, not at the school, but programs that sound good. And we focus on what's appealing, and then we implement them. And years later, you find out that really didn't help or whatever. But it's nice to be able to go back and see that. Are we seeing some results? Mm-hmm. It looks like that we are able to see some measurable results. So I appreciate you having a chart in here that's doing that for us, so thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dudley. It is a great program. My brother-in-law was a longtime avid teacher in Washington Township, and the schools do a great job of promoting it because my son at Carmel Middle was considering it. He decided not to do it. I also sort of wish he might have thought about it more, but he's finding his own way. I'm curious, you shared some of the data about percentage of students that are participating, sort of the coursework that they're taking. Has that data sort of held, those percentages sort of held steady over the last few years? Have we seen that grow over time? Because, right, it's been at the middle school for about 10 years, longer standing at the high school. Sort of what have we seen over time with that?
So our data, over the years, as we look at the total percentage of students participating, it has gone up, but it's stayed at right around that 9 to 10% students, which as we think about the programming for our students, this is one program that it could be a good fit, but it's not a program that might be a good fit for all students. But it has stayed pretty consistent. It goes up 9, 10, 11, 12, and then back down. Right now, this year, it's at 9%, but it's staying about right at that 9 to 10%.
Is it true, or is it part of the program that there is a community service component?
Yes, part of the students that they participate in community service, because it's how are we preparing them for life? And so that is a big part of the program. And as they go through the different grade levels, they also, it has a very much a focus on what are you interested in studying in the future? And so, for example, the Preparing for College and Career, which is a new requirement for our students to graduate from high school at, if students participate in AVID, they earn the credit for that Preparing for College, because it does have a very strong focus on how are they preparing them and what are their interests. I was just at the middle school the other day, and the AVID students were presenting on different types of major. And so they had to research those majors, and then they were presenting to their classmates on the majors. And not only were they, the whole purpose was they were learning about these different majors, but then the classmates were also giving the students, their classmates, feedback on their presentation skills, on the areas, and giving them very actionable feedback as well. So it's not only learning the content pieces, but then also the strategies and the skills in there.
Thank you. My son did participate in AVID, but only for a little bit, and I wish he would have done it a little bit longer. It was really good for him. He's a sophomore now, and I think it did give him a lot of the organization is what he needed, and so I'm really thankful for the program. I think as a board, it sounds like everybody was really interested and excited to see the outcomes basis that we saw. I really like all that data because, again, like Greg was saying, that it's nice to know that these programs that we're seeing really good data that on the positive impact for our students. So. Thank you.
And one of the pieces with AVID, we actually just hosted an AVID showcase at Carmel High School that included our middle schools and high schools sharing with other schools that might be interested in AVID. And so they came to Carmel High School to learn more about it and to learn how our implementation of it. And then we have just been asked to participate in some other opportunities where we're asking some of our teachers to participate with other schools in sharing more information on that, because Carmel has had a long-standing, as we've put in AVID, and with that implementation of it. So it is an exciting program.
I agree. And talking to parents in other districts, when I assume it's available and they find that it's not, so I've encouraged them to ask about adding the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have our monthly financial update with Mr. McMichael.
Well, I regret that my audience is pretty much left, but okay, well, we're only a couple months in, but you can see in our education fund that for this year, education operating referendum and rainy day funds, we combined those. We're showing a cash balance at the end of the month of 11.7 million. You can see that's less than last year at 14.7. But that you may recall that we had 3 pays in January, and that's primarily what this is about. We also, when we gave salary increases the last biennium, you may remember that we were funded considerably better in the first year than the second year. And so we actually held some money back in order to even give the minimal 1% raise that we gave to everybody but teachers. And so we're seeing the effect of that, because now we will spend the money that we held back, we'll spend for this year's contract. So that's having a slight impact on this as well. Then in our operation fund, again, this is not as predictable as the other fund, because it has construction and repairs and things that aren't, unlike payroll, that's not consistent every 2 weeks. But you can see we're at a negative 1.3, which is to be expected, because this fund is supported by property tax, and so we don't receive the revenue except for twice a year essentially. And then you can see, as compared to last year, we're still better off than last year. Was a minus $2.4 million. And then our rainy day fund, we're carrying $7.5 million in that fund, and it's contributing to over time increasing our overall cash balance reserves. As you know, that was a goal, has been a goal to increase it from a minimum of 8% to a minimum of 12. So we've been moving in the right direction, but slowly, and that was planned as well. And then you see that we did add money to the rainy day fund in December, as you can see the difference from last year. With that, I'll respond to questions if you have them.
This is where I talk. I always have a question for Roger. And you answered it earlier. I asked it offline. The charge in the rainy day fund was for the teachers program.
Yes.
Do you anticipate any more charges to it this year?
Amy would know better than me, but I believe so.
I don't mean for that specific purpose. I just mean like in general, any other.
Oh, other besides that?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so. Not that we're anticipating.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. McMichael. Next, I have a brief legislative update to share. There hasn't been a lot of movement on things in the past couple of weeks, but just asking everybody to keep an eye on both the House and Senate bills that give school funding, because I will reiterate that we are looking at some pretty large losses here at CCS, and so reaching out to your senators and representatives and making sure that they know that you appreciate the services and all of the staff and teachers at our schools, and that you would like that to remain the same. After that, we have Dr. Beresford with his superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. Good night tonight. When Amy said she was going to talk about AVID, I got real excited, because I've had the opportunity to watch AVID in action, and so to watch kids collaborate with one another, and probably the most impressive thing, it was middle school, was that to watch a student go, I'm struggling here, can you help me? I'm trying to understand, and asking another peer for help. And part of the mission of AVID is to set up the structure and everything, but also the personal skills to it's not a bad thing if you need help, you just need to go. It's a bad thing if you don't ask for help. And it kind of changes that mindset, and it's pretty amazing. And if you ever want your heart to get full, go to the senior AVID celebration, because the seniors who have been in that program for sometimes, just 2 or 3 years, or it could be all the way from middle school to high school, and they tell their story and then where they're going, and they talk about the different influences, the different teachers and the program itself, and it's just one of those things that you run into in education that really works, and really is that sweet spot for that middle of the road kid who's not quite sure they believe in themselves, and then they find out that other people believe in them, and then that whole thing goes together, and it's just something really, really special. But I try not to miss that banquet because it's really, really something. So thank you so much for that report. Tonight, I am representing the Lions of Woodbrook Elementary School. As you can see, they have this super cool lion with sunglasses on. And also, they have the theme of their year, which is Together We Are Stronger, which, of course, I love that message. So I want to represent the Lions of Woodbrook with their awesome principal and with her super smarts and super heart. If you've ever met Mrs. Kelly Davis, she's got a lot of both of those things. Very special school. And the magnificent Matt Hunter is her assistant principal. And Matt is another amazing person we have on our staff that just has a way of just being a kid magnet and just giving just what kids need right at the right time. So really happy about the administrative there. Of course, their talented staff, their parents, and their students. So this is my play on words. Are you ready? The Woodbrook Pride, working off that line thing, make sure every student is known, loved, and has character skills needed to be successful now and into the future. So how about those Lions of Woodbrook? Let's give them a Carmel clap, even if there's only just a limited number of us. Thank you very much. I'm proud to announce that two of our show choirs, the Ambassadors and the Accents, went to Show Choir Nationals in Nashville, and so and they won big. And so they were performing at the Grand Ole Opry, which is kind of cool. Hope they understand the history of that. And our accents, their show was amazing. It was about a bird in a cage and then being freed from the cage, and it was very symbolic. But it was just amazing visual, and of course music was incredible. And they were runner-ups in that national competition. And then came the Ambassadors, and they won. They're the grand champions, national grand champions of that competition. And that was another incredibly intricate show and just amazing. Also, our choir director, Catherine Coons, was chosen as the Director of the Year by the presenting organization. So really had a good weekend in Nashville, Tennessee, for our show choirs, and congratulations to them. Also, spoiler alert, so last meeting, 2 weeks ago, I was talking about how the Highlight student newspaper had qualified to possibly get a Golden Crown or a silver from the Columbia Press Association, and they were announced this week as a Golden Crown winner this last weekend. So the Highlight was one of only 10 winners across the country that got the Golden Crown, which is CSPA's highest honor, and it was in digital news. So that's the Highlight. They did it again. So they were putting together a streak, kind of like our swim team, and debate, as we saw tonight, of continually getting that highest level. So congratulations to them. Also want to highlight the Creekside robotics team won the state this weekend. And so congratulations to them, along with another Creekside team and 2 teams from Clay Middle School. We're sending 4 teams to the world competition, which is international, mostly in the States, but some international as well. And so congratulations to those robotics teams. So they're, doing what our middle school. Remember, that program is fairly new, and to think they've got to this level this quick is really something. And the Carmel Clay School middle school musicians brought home a lot of gold this weekend, because I want to do a shout out to them because middle school bands and orchestras all participated in the Indiana State Music Association state contest. And the highest level you can get there is a gold with distinction. And first off, we brought home a lot of gold, like almost everything gold, and then quite a few golds with distinction. So congratulations to all of our musicians. And I'll talk a little bit more about our musicians in a minute. And then finally, I don't know if you heard the announcement, but Carmel High School is going to host the World Aquatic Swimming World Cup. And so what that is we are one of 3 stops in the North American tour of the 2025 World Aquatic Swimming World Cup. So it's going to Chicago, it's going to Ontario, Toronto, and then it's going to Carmel, Indiana. And And so that will feature the fastest swimmers in the world who will be competing in our natatorium. And so the competition will be coming in October, so it'll be during the Carmel Clay Schools fall break. I believe the city is planning some cool events to coincide with the World Cup being held here in Swim City, USA. So that's pretty exciting, and it'll be really, I think Chris Plum had a quote that just said it'll be really awesome and inspiring to our youngest swimmers to see, the best in the world in their pool, and it'll be a good thing. So really pretty excited. And then my bell ringer is just a little bit different because I got to I do a weekly report to the board, and you guys saw I went to a lot of different things. And a few weeks ago, I reported that I went to the Mohawk Trails Elementary musical, kindergarten musical, which was The Very Hungry Caterpillar, one of my favorite stories and books. What happened at that particular musical is there's 4 kindergarten classes. So for one of the songs, each of the kindergarten classes played the musical instruments. So they had the little drums and all the little instruments. And they did really well, but I was like, that's impressive. And then I went to the percussion concert at Carmel High School. And at the percussion concert was the middle school percussion club. So this was kids from all across the district. And they played a very, very complicated number. And some of them were playing plastic garbage cans. Some of them were playing buckets, like you'd get at a hardware store. Then there was the traditional drums, drum sets. There was just a little bit. They were playing instruments from all over the place, and it was just amazing. And then came the high school concert, part of the concert. So you had the freshman percussion group, the freshman gold, and then it worked its all the way up to the top 2 percussion groups that were primarily, upperclassmen, and just blew the roof off of the place. It was just amazing. And what it struck me when I was driving home was that I got to see K-12 and how our musicians start in kindergarten playing these little bells, and then they end up playing incredibly complex and perfectly timed everything. And I was talking with one of the directors. I said, in percussion, you can't make a small mistake. If you make a mistake, it's in front of everybody. And the confidence that those kids have, and I can see where they grow that way. And I actually talked to an elementary music teacher, and I said, told him my experience, and he said, yes. He goes, I've been teaching now, and he's been here probably 15, 20 years. And he said, once you get through that, that 13th year, and you start seeing your students and how they matriculate into the high school, you really see what a K-12 program does. And so it was very inspiring to me, and I thought that would be my bell ringer to show you just a little glimpse of how education happens over 13 years and in our corporation. And with that, I will call it a night. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple announcements this evening. Spring break comes up beginning next week on Friday, so it's April 4th through April 11th. Our next school board meeting will be on a Tuesday evening, so it's Tuesday, April 15th for our workshop session. And then we have a meeting, our regular board meeting on Monday, April 28th, and that meeting will not be here. Meeting will be at Clay Middle School. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.